done yet. We're talking about the best in the Western region. And Ken came out that night and put on a driving clinic. I mean, he went by Williamson and everybody else to get to the front. When he got to the front, write the check. But this is a guy that's running 100-plus races a year and has been doing this for 30 years, if not longer. You better be good, right?
Yep.
He dominated that race. It was something to watch. Since then, everybody in a modified out here has stepped their game up. It's one of those deals where you learn. When you get to run with the best, you get to learn from the best, it makes you better. This has been a bigger deal since then, this whole series. Okay, so the drivers tied with 2 are Travis Peary, Ken Schrader, and as we talked about earlier in the show, Mark Wagge. Okay, these are the drivers that each have 1 win on the Wild West Modified Shootout Series. These are the drivers that have 1 win. Listen to these names. John Campos, Mark Carroll, Ryan Gaylord, Braden Hand, Danny Lauer out of Bakersfield, Dr. Scott Lenz, we saw him win in a pro stock earlier this year at Southern Oregon Speedway, Brad Martin, Anthony Rested, Wade Taylor, Gray Ferrando, and Bryson James.
Holy.
Wow.
These are the guys that have 1 win, okay?
And they're all loaded with talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point.
Jeez.
That tells you how hard it is to get a win on this series. And Jesse's up there with 12.
That's crazy.
6 more than anybody else. And when you've got, Alex Stanford has got a racing resume that is elite in our region in a modified. And Jesse's got 12 more wins than he does. Jesse is always a favorite when this series kicks off. I read an interesting fact that 4 of the last 5 years, I might be wrong, it's 3 of the last 4 or 4 of the last 5 years, the winner of the opening race in Wairika has gone on to win the title.
Oh.
Okay, so this will be interesting to see what happens Friday night up there and see who gets that win.
Wow.
Okay. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. With this talent pool, unless people miss a race, I just don't. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see somebody dominate. I just got this feeling that we're not going to see one guy go out and win 4 or 5 races like Williamson has done, or Stanford or Chadwick. These guys that have gone out and. Kellen Chadwick's got 4 wins on the series, and he did that in 1 series. He won 4 out of the first 5 races a couple of years ago. So I don't think we're going to see something like that, given how good this field is.
It could be anybody's race.
Every one of those cars, and I don't know if they're going to start 20 or 22, sometimes 24, whatever it is. Every single one of those guys that race their way into the feature has the ability, I don't care where you start, has the ability to win that feature or win the championship.
I'm kind of looking forward to my buds, like Gray Frando, Bryson James, and Colin Weinberger. I'm looking forward to seeing those guys.
Well, it's going to be good to see those guys. We haven't seen them all year.
Yeah.
So when they roll in and unload, it'll be good to see those guys.
Yep.
You're talking about 3 very exciting drivers. 3 very different driving styles.
Yep.
Okay. I don't even know if I would be so brave as to even predict a champion on this series. It's too hard.
I got favorites, but
we've always got our favorites, guys that we've worked with, guys we have relationships with, friendships, whatever. But when it comes to a deal like this, that's out the window.
Yeah.
Because
you don't know.
You don't. That's the exciting thing about this series is you don't know who's going to walk out champion.
It's like putting a loaded die in a crapshoot. You don't know what's going to happen.
John Campos is a defending champion.
Yeah.
And he's got 1 career feature win on this series. And we know how fast Lightning John Campos is.
Yeah, he is.
So that tells you right there, you don't have to win them all to win the title. It's about being consistent. Campos is consistent.
Yeah, he didn't win the last race, but he won the points.
Mm-hmm. You got to set yourself up. You got to set yourself up to be there for that final show. And I think everybody on this list is do you say a favorite? How do you word that? I mean,
a contender.
Well, yeah, hands down.
This is going to be kind of like a bass fishing tournament. You need to get out there and get a few big ones in your live well before you even get halfway finished. You want to make sure you've got that live well filled up, or at least you got a couple in your pocket.
Well, you better have something in your pocket. You better have something. You better have something that somebody else doesn't have.
You got to know where your honey hole is so you can go back.
You better, because it's going to be one of those knockdown, drag-out series where I think we're going to see multiple winners this year. I just don't see. I don't see somebody dominating this thing this year. And if one driver can dominate, like some drivers have done in the past, they're on a different level. Whether it's luck or whether it's setup or the talent in the cockpit, I mean, it takes all of that. It takes all of that to get a win on this deal.
And a good crew.
And a good crew. I mean, it takes everything. You have got to be on your A game to win this title. I don't even know where to start as far as talking about.
I think we ought to make a road trip.
Maybe. It'd be interesting to see. Be interesting to see.
Yeah. After they leave us, I would like to see one or two of the races after that.
I don't know. It's going to be a tough deal. It's going to be a tough deal if whoever wins this is going to earn their championship.
Yep.
It's going to be. I'm looking forward to Saturday night with this series coming in.
I mean, I know we won't get to see the Saturday race because we're going to be at Southern Oregon the night of the final.
No, they're there Saturday night. We have these guys Saturday night.
I'm talking about the final race.
Oh no, we won't be there. We'll be down at Southern Oregon working the show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah, we won't get to see that, but we could catch a couple of them during that week.
That'd be nice.
We'll get updates like everybody sends us.
Yeah.
Our phones go crazy on race night from multiple tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's constantly stuff coming in. I wanted to talk about a couple other sport mod drivers to give a shout out to that have been on fire here on the West Coast lately. Michael Johnson, the number 22 from Bakersfield. You guys remember him from the Bud Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And the number 83 of Jason Nation. Both of these guys are sitting on 4 wins. I mean, these guys here, I would love to see a sport mod tour like this to get the best sport mod drivers together. Their racing is every bit as good. It's every bit as good, and I think there's just as much talent through the sport mod ranks without having to spend what you have to spend on an IMCA modified. I would love to see a series like this, a Speedweek for every class, come through.
I'd like to see a super late model Speedweek.
It'd be great. It'd be great.
It could happen.
It could happen. I'm sitting here just going, that's, you got my gears turning. I'm thinking about it, yeah. It could happen. I would love to see a series like this once a year for all these divisions we've talked about come through, and it's just exciting. It's just a lot of fun to see something like that when you only get to see it once a year. You know what I mean? I wish that was something that happened through all levels.
And it brings out the best of the best.
Sometimes it brings out the worst of the best.
That's true.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that's not the case. But, man, you get this much talent together like it's coming in Saturday night to Southern Oregon Speedway. Man, I'm pumped. It's going to be fun.
We're going to have some good video.
Well, I hope so. I hope that drone stays up in the air and captures everything, and Dave's quick enough with the camera to stay with the action.
I didn't tell you earlier, but I ordered a new charger today.
How many batteries does it hold?
It'll do 3 at a time.
Perfect.
I mean, the other one will do 4, but it doesn't do
one at a time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The one I've got now does
3
at a pop.
Good deal.
Oh, wow. Good deal.
So instead of having to wait 3 hours for 3, we can wait an hour for 3.
Right.
Beautiful. Does that make sense?
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Are you losing your voice again?
No, I'm just I think allergies are starting to kick in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little raspy. I'm feeling it. Yeah.
Well, the other night we was up on top talking, and I go, we was about 7 of the way, or about 3/4 of the way through, and I could hear a change in your voice.
Oh yeah.
And I looked over at Dave and I said, "There he goes."
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like a tire with a slow leak. There he goes.
And I started feeling it towards the end of that show.
We can hear you. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, I'm so used to you.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to you. I can hear you kind of like when you flutter a little bit or something. But the other night, to me, it was dramatic. It was just like, okay, we're going
Yeah. Started getting a little rough there.
Yeah, and then the tower starts shaking, and then we know he's down there dancing.
I'm pacing around, and oh man, it was exciting. It was exciting. Yeah, it was. I know, and you're right. You're absolutely right, because that's exactly what was going on.
Yeah, there's people over to the right of us goes, "It's an earthquake! It's an earthquake!" I said, "No, it's just Corey down there. He's excited."
Well, let me tell you what's funny about that. Because you get in those features and things start getting hot and heavy like that, right? I start going, and you guys know that when I get into it, that's my focus. I'm into it. It's tunnel vision, right? I'm just, what's going on the track is what matters. Sandy was by me most of the night while I'm doing my thing. She stays close. She's handing me notes, constantly passing me info, right? Features started. I started getting into it. I'm looking around like, what? Sandy's
gone.
She's clear on the far side up against the window. She's so far, she couldn't get any farther away from me, right? And she's just sitting there looking straight out the window, watching the races. She knew that, okay, he's in his groove. He's doing his thing. She was, and that's a big booth.
Yeah.
You know how big that booth is.
That's a lot of room.
Oh, man. That's a class act facility right there. But she's clear on the other side. And she's just sitting there watching out the window, just watching the races. And I just kind of thought to myself, okay, I'm in the zone. She's clear over there doing her thing. I know that she's like, stay out of his way.
And that's why his legs hurt so bad coming back home on the drive.
Well, I didn't sit down once.
You didn't sit down.
Didn't sit down once, and I'll bet you I walked 3 miles in that booth, just pacing back and forth, watching the races. And it's a good thing we have wireless technology, because I would be tripping on the wire if we had one. But oh man, I love the facility. I love the booth and the view and the action, and
I love the people.
Oh man,
they're
great.
The best.
They're great.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a fun group
down
there.
It's a neat place.
It is, and like I said, every place is unique in its own right. But this place is just
special.
Man, very, very different.
And I've had, and like we was talking about earlier, you got people coming up and talking to you and asking questions, and we was talking about the drone, and I had like 3 or 4 different people this time that I never noticed before come up and ask me, and then I'm standing there, and one guy standing behind me, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm a 107 pilot too." I said, "Really?" And the first thing in my mind was, "Uh-oh, he's up here checking me out to see what I'm doing wrong," And he goes, "Man, you sure do fly that thing very well." I said, "Well, thank you. From another 107 pilot, to tell you that you're flying good, that's a compliment to me."
That's good.
And we discussed a few things, and just kind of out of caution, I kind of mentioned a couple of safety things that we always keep in mind and stuff, and oh yeah, man, you're on your game. You're on your game. You're doing very well. I'm impressed.
It's funny how much attention that drone gets at the racetrack. People are looking up, watching it, and now he's got something different coming.
I got something different. You're going to be surprised Saturday night. I'm not going to say anything.
And what a way to break it out at the Wild West Modified Shootout.
That's right.
That's a perfect time for what you're doing.
Get your attention.
Oh, yeah, well, absolutely. Looking forward to it. You guys, we've been up for 2 hours. I think it's time to step on out of here. And,
we was up for 24 the other night, for God's sake.
What's another 2?
My voice is starting to feel like the other night. Man.
But we've had fun, though.
We've had fun. It's always a good time with you guys on the show. Too bad that Nina wasn't here and Gary.
And Gary.
I know Gary's got, we talked about his work schedule on the last show, and he's flying all over the place, working on these high-tech pump systems for pools.
And Nina's working tonight.
Nina had a big event. They were doing something with 300 people and catering. And
she still had time to come in.
She still had time to listen to the show.
Yeah?
Yeah. She's fun to have around, and her talent is much appreciated.
We just got a great group. That's just
we do.
Outstanding group.
We do. Your group is fun when cop cars are leaving with numbers on the doors.
There you
go. We do have
fun.
To post the picture. I think I'll sneak it up when Corey's sleeping or something.
We might have to do something like that.
And then I'll just delete it when he wakes up.
It was fun, but guys, we want to say thanks to everybody out there listening. We appreciate you supporting the show and having a good time with us, and we look forward to spending Wednesday nights with you. And we're going to be back here next Wednesday night, breaking down the Wild West Modified Shootout Series.
And make sure if your friends don't know about our podcast to